This is the first thing that came to my mind. Sorry.
Okay.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
It helps if I hit the right buttons. Then we are now live. Hey, thank you.
I was going to make a joke about the reason that the music being taking so long to play is that we have to pray to like several different deities to make sure the show goes right, and then you did that. Yep. So I mean, someone wasn't praying hard enough, I guess.
No, flying spaghetti monster. How I missed you.
So what's that, James?
Hello, flying spaghetti monster.
So James is with us.
Hello.
Yo.
Hey, everybody.
Look at the kitty cat.
Yeah, Jasmine.
Mine will be walking around behind me eventually, too, I'm sure.
And our good friend RW, how's it going, my friend?
How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Totally. So we're talking about something very cool and something awesome. You put together your book, and it's out.
I know, right? And it's only got 3,427 errors in it. So like it's ridiculous. I mean, really.
Just a heads up, if you're interested in checking out Life Inside My Head, there's a link in the show notes down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. For Amazon, you got this on Amazon, my friend. Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, a lot of people out there who are watching know me, and then some people think you know me, and others people don't know me at all. So, today's world is, it's just whacked, really. And I know I won't be around forever. So I wanted to write this book to leave some funny stories, some anecdotes, some experiences, whatever. So when my time comes, somebody will have stories from me right here that they can read. And that's kind of how it all came about. Was just a way of, I tell stories to people all the time, and they're like, you should put this in a book. And I'm like, I don't have time to write a book. And seems like I actually had time to write a book.
One thing, as of, talking to you at cons and stuff like this, reading this, I definitely heard everything in your voice, and it was just, it is just, it's not like one long story. It's just, tons of like small events that happen throughout your life. And it's just, a little sad, to read some of the stuff that's happened to you, but, also, it gives a better understanding of, your mind, even say it in the beginning, where you're going off on a ramble, then all of a sudden squirrel,
Yeah. and that is my life. And, my life isn't any sadder than someone else's. So I want to make sure that I'm not saying I had the worst life that anybody could have. But in having that life, I had to figure out a way to not live that life, meaning like, don't let these events define who I am. And it took me a long time to get over, that part of my life and figure out what is it I want to do. And growing up with that life, and for those of you who read the book, you know what I'm referring to, you just wanted something better. And I watched TV all the time. And, I was born in the 60s, so I watched the shows from the, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s and stuff. So, Carol Burnett show, Andy Griffith, Honeymooners, anything my parents watched, Hee Haw, Lawrence Welk, whatever. And then the shows I discovered, A-Team, Knight Rider, so on and so forth. And I said, this is what I want to do with my life, because my life at that point was so bad that the only way to escape that life was to watch these shows, the Waltons, Little House on the Prairie, Brady Bunch, whatever, and kind of step out of your life and pretend you're part of one of the Brady kids or one of the Walton boys, or, living at Walnut Grove or whatever. And it really helped me through that tough time. So I wanted to be an actor, writer, comedian in the entertainment industry to give to somebody out there who is like me now, a way to escape and realize that, it's not as bad as you think it is, and you will get through it or whatever. So that's why I became an entertainer. This is why I do what I do, because all those people on TV and in the movies were there for me when I needed them. And I got through it, luckily, with their help. And most of them will never know that they played that pivotal role in my life. Anyways, take it away.
So we're going to talk a little bit about your book. We're also going to talk about some video game news that James has as well, and some entertainment news. If you had one selling point to give somebody about your book, what would it be?
That's one selling point, I guess. So one of the things that, if you read the book, I was bullied through school and so on and so forth, and dropped out of high school, and my family life wasn't the greatest. But I guess the one point that I would make is, don't let those things define who you are. Don't let those things lessen your value. Don't let those things make it so that you don't think you can do anything, because you get low self-esteem from being bullied and the home life you have, and you're like, I can't do anything right. I'm never, no offense, I love my dad to death, but he said to me many times, you will never amount to anything. So don't let what somebody else thinks of you define who you are. I mean, if you all right here say, I don't think you're funny at all, I don't care anymore. But I used to care very much what other people thought. And I used that as, okay, I'm never going to be anything because these people are saying so. But it took me a long time to get away from, you people don't know what you're talking about, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do because it makes me happy. So if anything that you get from this book is just go after whatever dream it is. If you want to be the president of the United States, or you want to be the first person on Mars, you can do it. Don't let somebody tell you that you can't.
One thing that one thing that I learned from it is not to ask you for glue.
What? Oh, oh my gosh! And that was a horrible story. Like, what you read is how it went down. And so that story is as dragged out as it possibly can be, but that's exactly how it happened. Like, literally, Randy, go get me the glue. And I go back into this area, and all you hear is my voice come back, and I go, do you want the big bottle that's half full, or do you want the small bottle that's brand new and full? I don't care, just bring me the glue. But you still haven't told me. And like, it went back and forth until I got chucked off from stage. So, yeah, every story in there is true. And, I've told them so many times and make people laugh that they're like, you got to write these things down. And my memory is failing. My eyesight's going. So it was the time to do it before I can't remember any of these stories. So, yeah, that's kind of the real reason that I did it now, is because I'm starting to forget a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I hear you. R.W. Martin, we need to design your new Saber buddy. Yeah, I'm not for some reason the names don't come through. So
that's okay. You can. They have to, when they sign into the StreamYard thing, they have to allow their name to be shown, or it won't show their name.
Yeah. Yep.
Jim Moscatello.
Okay.
But anyways, Leo, I'm guessing you read it. James, Yo-Yo, did you have a chance to check it out? I see a tail like sneaking up on you in the background. Be careful.
Yeah.
I did get a copy of it. I only read a couple pages of it before getting sidetracked with a wonderful 10-month-old who does not like to sleep.
Yes.
As he is currently up right now, and Jen is taking fantastic care of him. But, he's just, hey, I want to be part of the party and let's rock and roll. So I do apologize. I did not get a chance to read your book.
No, that's all good.
I did start reading it, and it was really, like, a couple pages I read. I think I read page 20 or 25 before I got sidetracked with the child. I liked it. I mean, I can't wait to read more of it. When Leo was like, hey, we're interviewing RW today, I was like, oh, crap. I was supposed to read the book. Because Leo doesn't remind us, like, especially last week, as we didn't have a show. You could have been like, hey, guys.
That would have been useful.
Next week. But no, so one thing I want to ask you, RW, was, well, writing the book, you said a lot of these stories were really funny and made you laugh, make people laugh. When you were writing it, were you just chuckling to yourself or laughing along the way when you were doing this? And, were there any stories that you didn't put in there or you wish you kind of put in after the fact?
Okay, so the answer to the first question is, if anybody knows me, and it looks like Tracy just popped in to say hi real quick, and before she goes, she'll tell you, when I do a Facebook Live and I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing on this Facebook Live, as soon as I'm like, okay, I'm done, thank you very much, see you later, I watch the live again like this. So when I was writing the book, I'm laughing my head off because that's just who I am. I find myself humorous, I guess. But and the second question is, yes, a lot of stories got left out and not on purpose. So living with ADHD is really, really hard. And I've had it ever since I was a kid. So, I've had juvenile ADHD and adult ADHD. And I'll go downstairs to get something out of the refrigerator, and I'll see the cat, and I'll go, oh, what are you doing? Yeah, okay. And then I go upstairs, I sit down, and I go, why am I so thirsty? Oh, because I just went downstairs to get something to drink. So when I was writing the book, I'm like, okay, don't forget this story, this story, this story, this story, right after you write this one. And then I got distracted, didn't write it down, and then went, what story was I writing? And then it was a completely different story. So, yes, I chuckled a lot of times writing it, and then I did forget a lot of stuff because of my ADD, and it just didn't make it in there. It wasn't because I didn't want to tell the stories, because I literally forgot. But I also figured no one's going to want to read much more than 178 pages of me rambling, and if I made it any longer, people would be like, dude, I couldn't even get through your book. So that was the other reason. So maybe there's a second volume somewhere down the road or something. But yeah.
Well, I definitely would like you to expand on the potpourri section in the end. Definitely you go over a lot so the potpourri section is like all your favorite video games and TV shows and movies of those decades, maybe an expansion on that, going into detail of, your favorite ones that, like you mentioned Tron, your favorite movie of all times, and you watched it, 500 times?
At least. So back in the day in the 80s, and a lot of people depending on your history on electronics, there was this thing called an RCA Selectavision player. And you pulled this little lever down and you put this thing that looked like a plastic record album into this machine. And these little things grabbed the record. It was literally a black record with a hole the size of a 45 in it. Grabbed this black record and stuck it inside the machine. And there was two sides. And it played by needle, just like a phonograph would do. And so I had that in like maybe 6-8 other movies on Selectavision, and I would probably watch Tron at least once a week. So if I watch Tron once a week for even 2 years, that's like 600 something times. Oh, go ahead.
Wait a second. So it was a video player with a needle?
You've never heard of the RCA Selectavision?
No, I knew laser.
I wish I had brought it down. I got it upstairs, but it would take too long to go find. So look it up. You can look up, and you might be able to post the photo, but look up Tron RCA Selectavision, or actually look up RCA Selectavision player, and you'll see it. It was this huge thing about the size of, it weighed as much as a PC normally does, and it was square. And at first it was just a lever you pulled down, but then they made one that was automatic that like you didn't have to pull this lever down. And they were plastic things the size of an album, and it was a black record inside, like I say, with a hole the size of a 45, and a needle actually played. There it is. That's the exact one that I had right there. And believe it or not, I still have that exact one in storage in Waterbury. Last I knew, it still worked. But if you pull up, after a few seconds, pull up an actual disc and you'll see what I mean. There you go. Oh, he's got it. So there you go. So The way that works is if you look at the very end of it, you can see these little grooves on the very other side. And this thing would pull that out of that plastic case, and you would watch movies. Yep, there it is. So it's a black movie.
Okay, so go back to the other picture you had, James. So that looks like a giant 3.5-inch floppy. Where it had.
I think that's just the case.
Yeah,
I think that's
okay.
It's the size of a record album. It's just plastic. But you'd slip this thing in a machine and you pull it out, and the needle would come down and it would play the movie. And then at 60 minutes, it would go, please turn your disc over. And you turn it over and you watch the other side. So like movies like Superman and there's a couple others. Close Encounters were so big that they actually had 3 discs because you couldn't fit it all on the one disc or whatever. So anyways, I would watch this thing almost every day because it was my favorite movie. And so I figured, the movie's been out for 38 years and I've probably watched it well over 500 times.
Wow.
Just because I love that movie.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
I've literally never heard of this thing, and I'd want to know more.
It's called flea markets and eBay.
Oh no, I've already seen it on eBay. I'm going to watch this.
I have a Laserdisc player actually downstairs. The
Laserdisc Star Wars is still considered one of the best rips of Star Wars ever.
Except for
Anywho,
it's legally it's the last best rip of
legally. But I've seen a bunch of the discs on eBay, and it's like the guy wants like $40 for 20 of them or whatever, but then it's like $400 for shipping because these things, you put 10 of them together and they weigh almost as much as a Toyota Celica. Like seriously, they're ridiculous to ship them.
So RW, as again, this is where Leo's really bad at transitions, and you've known this by now. That shows you've been out of them. So you like Tron? Did you like Tron Legacy?
See, I didn't not like it, but they tried too hard, and no offense, if you watch the original Tron, Jeff Bridges is like, hey, it's a big master control program everybody's been talking about. Or because, man, somewhere in one of these memories is the evidence. If I could get in far enough, I could reconstruct it. And then he's more like, hey, man, I'm the dude now. Like what Jeff Bridges was before as Flynn and what he is in Legacy, it's like he's trying too hard to be the dude in the computer land. So I liked it. The graphics were great, but the story just, I don't know. I didn't like it.
Well, they announced Tron 3.
Yes. And your job is to write to Disney and say, RW is the biggest Tron fan. You need to throw him in there somewhere.
I remember, so I didn't watch Tron until I watched Tron Legacy because I mean, I knew what Tron was. You know, I'm just a fan of the cinema. And I remember watching Tron. I was all excited to watch Tron Legacy. I was freaking so excited to see it. Saw it, got Tron, and when it came out, Tron Legacy came out on Blu-ray, I got like the collector's pack that came with that, the original Tron, and like a disc. Everything was awesome. And I remember watching Tron for the first time, being like, I don't know what's wrong with this movie. Like, it's not that like god awful. Like, you know, it's been parodied enough in, you know, pop culture to be like where it stands the time. I always think of the South Park episode with the Jubilee, and Moses is the master control program. Gotcha. Like stuff like that makes me like chuckle now that I know the reference. But like I've been patiently waiting for like a Tron sequel for a while because I'm like, visually it was just awesome. The soundtrack was unbelievable. You know, especially what they tried to do, and then seeing where like technology has like gone so much far ahead of it, being like, oh, I see what they wanted to do, but they were like 5 years too early. Like, and you can even say that about the original Tron. You saw what they were trying to do, but they were like 5 years too early. And, you know, they were ahead of the curve on a lot of the special effects and storytelling. But I'm very, very interested to see what they're going to do with the third one, because originally I know the third one, the director of the second one was like, we're going to build off of Olivia Wilde's character, you know, her in the real world, as well as Tron, you know, the program, the Tron, the simulation or the computer is kind of reboot itself since what happened with, you know, Clue, and see where that story is going and kind of go from there. So, you know, I don't think it would be a true sequel without Jeff Bridges, so we'll see if he just kind of shows up somewhere. Because it was left pretty ambiguous if Tron was still alive or not at the end of Legacy. So,
yeah. So I would have to say maybe, okay, so 2012 was the 30th anniversary. So I would say maybe 2010, 2009, somewhere in there, I started tracking down every single person I could track down that was responsible for making Tron 1982. Whether they were a casting agent, whether they did the CGI, whether they were costuming, whether they were this, that, the other thing, because I wanted to tell these people how much this movie meant to me, get their autograph, and just say, hey, thanks for sticking in there. And a lot of people don't know how hard it was to make this movie. Now, when you think about it, the only CGI in that movie are the light cycles and the tanks and, you know, that stuff. But the costumes that are all like blue and red, they would take one. So I forget how many frames of film it takes to make. I used to know this when I worked in the theater, but 24 frames of film or whatever to make you move like an inch or whatever. So they take every frame of film, and I have one upstairs, but I didn't know we were going to talk about Tron, but it blew it up into this huge thing called a codolith, which is, 20 by 15, 20 by 18, whatever. And they had to blow them up. And then they had to make a negative of that blow up. And then they had to mask out the face. They had to mask this out, mask that out. So when you got done, there was probably 12 different codoliths, and they shipped them to Taiwan. And with the negative, so like the costumes were white with black magic marker drawn on them. And when you flip that around, the costume becomes black and all the black lines become white. People in Taiwan had to hand paint every single one of those white lines, blue, red, pulsating or whatever, and then ship all that stuff back to Disney so that they could like put all the pieces back together. And it was just an incredible amount of work that went into this movie to get it made. And I have become really, really close friends with a bunch of people who worked on Tron. And I'm very blessed to know how many people here have seen The Brave Little Toaster.
Yep.
Show of hands. So Jerry Rees worked on Tron and then did The Brave Little Toaster. Another guy, Roger Allers, please let me have the right name. Yes, went on to do Lion King. So a lot of these people who like tried to figure out how to make this movie work are now some of the top people in the business or whatever. But I've been very blessed. Like every day I'll post something and Jerry Rees, God bless him, who worked on Tron and did The Brave Little Toaster, comments, like, heart, whatever. So yeah, I don't know what about that movie, resonated inside me, but I don't know. I like them. I love Wendy Carlos's score, and then my favorite video game of all time, and I know we're going to be talking about video games soon, was Tron, the arcade game. So Tron is like my thing.
I know on Disney Plus there's a show called Prop Culture.
Yeah.
And they have a whole episode about Tron and them hunting down the props from Tron, and goes into the making of, and they actually go to the director's house, who has like a yurt full of Tron memorabilia and articles and all this stuff, and it's actually like a really, really cool episode.
Oh, that sounds like a cool show. Prop Culture.
You haven't watched Prop? Oh my God, they take like 6 or 7 movies and they break down all the props. Like they have a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, they have Pirates of the Caribbean, Mary Poppins, Roger Rabbit. They do a lot. There's a bunch of episodes, and it's like half an hour each. Yeah. But like he literally goes to every single, like he'll hunt down people. Like it's actually an interview in the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids one. He actually sits down with Rick Moranis for like his first interview in like 20 years, basically, and like talks about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and all that stuff. It's actually like a really cool show because he gets to go into the Disney archives, and he talks about the Disney archives, and they had like the shrink machine from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and it's been so morphed in. The bones were still the original, but like all the sequels in the TV show, they kept changing it and making it more sci-fi-ish. So in the episode, they go and they restore it back to what it looked like in the first movie, as well as they have the Flynn's arcade sign from Tron, like the original one, and then they have a neon sign guy, go and rebuilds the neon again and refills all the tubes, and they light it back up, and it looks like, perfect. And it was like stuff like that. It's really, really cool. I was like very impressed by it.
I feel like I'm underusing Disney Plus now because I just use it to watch Simpsons usually.
Like I said, the 2 shows that have been originals on Disney Plus is the Imagineering years, where it's the history of the Imagineers from before Disneyland was made up until like present day, which is awesome. Just listen to like the Eisner years, which are like the dark cloud of Disney, is like how like Michael Eisner became the position and why he kind of went off the deep end. That was very interesting. But also like how they developed Disneyland, Disney World, all the other parks, all these rides, all this stuff. It was like really, really cool, and just knowing that history. And then the show like Prop Culture, that was like so out of left field. I didn't know what to do with it, and I kind of put it on the background. But like you learn that the snow globe from Mary Poppins was on Walt's desk in his office after that movie came out to the day he died. And then now you can actually tour Walt's office in the studios, and the snow globe is still there.
Oh, wow.
It's like stuff like that. You're like, wow. And they sit down with like the actress from Mary Poppins the Kid, and they show her costume that's been authenticated as her costume. And it's just that reaction from none of these people being like, I wore that. That was mine. Like that was. So the cool thing is they did Nightmare Before Christmas, and you learn about Danny Elfman, and they go to Danny Elfman, and they have a lot of the voice actors, and they go to the director's house, and the director has the model of him in the sleigh from the movie, like the original one, on top of this thing, and it's gigantic, of him riding the sleigh. And he tells the story of like anytime kids come up at Halloween dressed from Nightmare Before Christmas, with Parent Food, they invite him in. Do you want to see something pretty cool? And he shows them this whole collection of like Nightmare Before Christmas, with Nightmare Before Christmas memorabilia and stuff like that. It's just, dude, I'm telling you, you learn so much about like the movies and all this stuff. And it's just, I could, Roger Rabbit episode, they talk about the scene where he goes through the glass window and the shade, like he flies through it. They show how they made that effect, that effect, and how it was a one take. They did it in one take with no issues. And you could still see like the rabbit outline on the glass because they have it in the archives. And you learn where Benny is and how Benny worked. Like that was actually like a real like car they built. Ford and Bob Haskins was actually driving it. It was actually like really like that's the shit you learn in this movie. It was, like the show was awesome. I can't vouch for it enough.
Now I know why you didn't watch Warrior Nun. You've been watching cool stuff.
Yeah, like I'm a fan. And Jen can attest this, I'm a huge history buff. My time frame is very much like colonial America, pre-revolution, revolution, and right afterwards, like building Constitution. That's up to about War of 1812. Just an interesting period of time in our history, especially like going on today. All this stuff, I think it's really cool to know that stuff. And then it's like the history of Hollywood and just like how Hollywood, like the golden age of Hollywood in the 30s, 40s, 50s. And then it's actually like I've kind of fallen in love with Disney again. So just going through and watching all the stuff about Disney, it's just been phenomenal. Like it's just been so much fun.
You've got to give. So I have so much respect for Rick Moranis and for Dirk Benedict, who was on the A-Team as Face and Starbuck on Battlestar Galactica. Rick Moranis left show business to raise his kids. And
his wife had cancer, yeah.
Dirk Benedict's wife left him, and he dropped out of show business to raise his kids. So if people go, whatever happened to Dirk Benedict and why is Rick Moranis not around anymore? Because he did the right thing, and I have so much respect for those guys. Now, back to Disney, you said so much on my ADD. It's like, don't forget this, don't forget that. But do you watch The World According to Jeff Goldblum?
It's one of my – that show's fantastic.
Like, oh, yes, a battery. What can we do? A battery, right? Like, he's so creepy. Like, there's a person standing right here, and the person's talking, and Jeff's going – yeah, and he's like 2 inches from the guy's face. I'm like, Jeff, back up just a little bit, man. Like, but it's such a great. He's so funny.
Well, you know something you don't want to back up from? A bag of Deadly Grounds coffee, because you want to like inhale it and smell the awesome aroma from a Death by Chocolate or the Witch's Brew to chocolate.
I mean, it's not his worst transition. I can see your face. It's not his worst. He's definitely made worse transition.
Just imagine Jeff Goldblum going up close to the bags and smelling it. Oh, the aroma. Okay. Deadly Ground coffee, as you know. I'm sorry, James.
You're getting better. Yo-Yo is correct. You've had unbelievable. We've given you meatballs to hit out of the park, and you're just like, you're like RW. Talk about ADHD. Leo, like we're like Leo. Here's the transition. What we're gonna talk about, like right down the middle of the plate, and Leo's like, ooh, butterfly.
Yeah.
So Deadly Grounds Coffee, a local roaster right here in Connecticut, Norwalk, Connecticut. Easily the best coffee you'll ever have. It doesn't give you, some coffees they give you like indigestion or just a bad aftertaste, or just very acidic. This here is just very smooth, just awesome tasting. He does some special oils in the roasting process to give a hint of the flavor, so it's not overpowering. No extra calories or anything like that. So no sugars, no splashes of sweetener or anything like that. But you know what? Here's enough of you've listened to me enough. Here is a zombie talking about coffee.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
it wasn't that bad, James.
Next time, you just got to go, RW, shut up. We got to go to a commercial break. You've been talking the whole time. That's all you have to do, really.
Oh, Jim, that is 100% Leo, half the show. Transition down the middle. Ooh, squirrel.
But yeah, when I was lucky enough to go out to California in 2012 to be part of the 30th anniversary of Tron, and I got to meet all those people who I had, friended online or whatever, meet them in person. And what was cool was when I got there, the line was like, 200 people long or whatever. And I'm like, oh God, I'm never going to get through this line. So I didn't really cut the line. I just kind of went to the front of the line and I said, yo, hey, come here. Yeah, you for a second. So I'm R.W. Martin and Mike Bonifer is expecting me. So could you just let Mike Bonifer know that I'm here? Thank you very much. And then I started walking down the line to get to the end. And I saw someone with a Tron shirt on, like 10 people in it. I'm like, dude, that's a pretty cool shirt. Like, Tron, yeah, how you doing? What's going on? I'm not cutting. I'm just talking to this guy. Come on, relax. I'm going to the back. Trust me. R.W. Martin, that's me. See ya.
That's fantastic.
But they had all kinds of Tron stuff on display in the Mann's Chinese Theater. There's like a activity room, and they had all these glass cases with everything you could imagine. But I got to meet Steven Lisberger, and he's not a shake hand guy. He's an elbow fist bump guy. But hey, whatever. Got my picture with him, and that was like, pretty darn cool.
Nice.
Nowadays everybody's got to be that though.
No, yeah, no.
He's just head of the curve.
I'm like, hey, nice to meet you.
Oh yeah.
Oh. All right.
We're just gonna start bowing. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. You do the shoe tap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am pushing for the Wakandan.
Oh,
that's what I want to go for. Great.
Make it happen, yo. So James, what video game news do you have for us?
I'm sorry. This video game news is, I'll say it's video game genre, but it's just fucking awesome. The Lego NES set.
Oh yeah.
With the $25.
With the one with the TV and you turn it and it moves like.
Yeah, but it's the wrong Mario voice.
So here's the thing. That's only if you get the because they have like the Mario Land Lego set. That's only if you put them on top. If you don't, it makes no noise. Okay. That's like an added thing because there's like a speaker and stuff inside the new Mario guy.
Does it play the music if you crank it?
Yeah, no. If you have that little Mario guy, it plays it plays all the sound effects with the little Mario guy on top. If not, it's just the Lego set. But with the controller and you get the game that slides in, you can push it down and like, come on. And yeah, I understand it's $230. I bought the Ghostbuster Firehouse for $300, and I'm about this close to buying the giant ass Star Destroyer for $1,000. Like,
oh wow, holy crap!
Like, I'm sorry. Like,
where do you got?
I was in. Don't you worry, I'll find room. The kid can sleep in like a shop. Just kidding. No, whatever. No, the one I wanted is the Falcon, the $800 Millennium Falcon one. It's like
a friend of mine bought the $150 Falcon, and it's like this big when you put it together. I was like, are you kidding me?
So for me, is I don't mind. Lego is one of those things. Their quality is so like high. I don't mind paying more because I know the quality I'm getting is good. Like I said, for the Firehouse, the Ghostbuster Firehouse was the largest Lego set I've ever put together. Took me about a week and a half to do, and I was working about an hour to 2 hours a night on this thing. The manual itself was about that thick to put it together. It was, you're just sitting there putting it together, and it's just like I have my headphones in. I'm like watching like TV or like on my iPhone, and I'm just putting it together and like flipping the thing. It was awesome. It was so much fun. And like I saw it drop. I dropped it down. When I saw the thing, I'm like, oh, what's this? Because I know they're doing like the Mario for Lego. And then it was like, so they set it up the commercial like it's a real set. I'm like, and then I saw, I was like, oh my god! And then like it turns and it actually moves. I'm like, dude. Like I'm sold. I'm sold. If they do a Zelda, like it looks like it's an insert.
Yeah.
You can drop it in there. So my thing is, are they gonna do other Nintendo games? Like I would like if they're doing like a Zelda one, like that would be cool.
Because then they sell you the cart to put in, and then the wraparound.
The actual,
I can see
that.
that.
Would be, like, that's like if I'm.
And then a little link to put on top so you can say
Nothing.
No, he had lines from.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me. So here's a story that I believe is in this book, and it has to do with Mario. But when my kid, who is now 22, my oldest daughter is 22, and my youngest is 17. When my oldest, who's 22 now, was like a year old, maybe, I don't, somewhere in there, she would cry and cry and cry and cry, and you could burp her, and you could give her a bottle, and you could walk around with her, and you could throw her down the stairs. I was kidding about that. You could do whatever. You could do whatever you could possibly do to this kid. Change her diaper, give her a bath. Nothing would work. I had Nintendo 64 at the time. One time she's crying, and I'm like, I did everything I could. I hand her off to my wife, and I go, I'm going to play a video game. You figure this out. And I turn the video game on, Nintendo 64, Super Mario. I don't know how many people out there remember it, but you turned it on, and it was like Mario's head was just doing this for a while.
Yeah, and you can tug it, and
and it would just show him running around, and he'd go, "It's me, Mario. Press start to play." And as soon as I turned that on, the kid stopped crying, and I went, wow. So we had to go to Indiana because that's where my wife was from. My ex-wife now lives there with my kids back in Indiana. But we'd go during the summer to visit for like 10 days. So I fed my Nintendo 64 into my VCR, and I recorded 2 hours of Super Mario 64. We're at the house, at her mom's house, God rest her soul, at the mother-in-law's house. And we're getting ready to go eat and go to the mall and stuff, but we didn't want to bring Rebecca, who was like 1. So I go, hey, if she starts crying and starts freaking out and you can't get her to stop, put this VCR in and hit play. It'll work. She'll stop crying. She says, I've raised 4 grandchildren. I've raised 4 children and 6 grandchildren. I don't think I'm going to need your tape, but thank you. We were gone most of the day. We came home, tapes in the VCR. Becca's asleep. And I go, don't need the tape on. She goes, you shut your mouth. But so that was the only thing that could get my kid to sleep was the sound of Mario.
oh wow.
Yeah. Quack, 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 quack. Oh my God.
So I wonder how much the insert would cost.
Well,
sorry, I'm watching it like, yeah,
it's
definitely gonna see them.
It's probably going to come with a pack of like the character with like a level, and then a cartridge, and then the paper insert.
Yeah, so probably like.
Well, it's not a paper insert. It's you build the insert.
Yeah. Oh, you build the insert too?
You build the insert.
The whole thing is Legos.
Okay.
So like you have to build it in and you slide it in.
Yeah.
You have to build up those pieces.
I think it's weird though how the inside of the TV kind of looks like inside of a real TV.
What was that? Yeah.
I think it's kind of weird how the inside of the TV kind of looks like the circuit board for a TV. Like I know what they're going for. Still weird.
So I know we could talk about. I just don't get the appeal of Legos. I'm sorry.
Oh, dude!
Have you ever built Legos?
When I was a kid,
Leo, the sets they have now, and like I said, no joke. When I started building the fire, it's literally something just to turn off your brain for a little while and just do something constructive.
See, when I was a kid, I just had a pile of Legos. There was no sets. It was just here's bricks. Do something with it.
The one thing I remember about Legos is my friend knew somebody or went to school with somebody who worked at Lego, who was part of the marketing department, and he honestly said before they got the license for like Star Wars, which is like the first big market license they got, where they did sets for, like Lego wasn't doing that. Like no one really was buying it. It was just a box thing. The marketing in buying the rights and the IP to make these saved Lego. To like no joke, like it literally saved Lego. But I mean, for me, I've always said I think I've gotten a Lego kit for Christmas every year for the last like 5 or 6 years. And for me, it's that like on Christmas morning, you want to build something, like you want to put something together. And so like for me, it was I bought myself the DeLorean from Back to the Future. I bought the Ghostbuster Ecto-1. I've bought like little tiny, like if I go to a Lego store, a lot of times you spend money, they give you just kits. It's like fireworks. You spend X amount of dollars, you get like this door prize. So like I remember when I bought the firehouse with my birthday present, they were like, oh, you spent this money, you get this, and you get this, and you get this other thing, and you get like 3 other sets with it to build. And they're tiny, like there's like the Lego store that kind of like opens up, and you can see like what the old Lego store used to look like. And I'm like, this is cool. And that took me like an hour to put together, and that was just me doing it. But it's just a fun, like relaxing. I consider it relaxing. I don't know if it's relaxing for everybody.
Well, I could definitely see it being relaxing, having like a creative outlet like that. But I don't know.
I think it's hilarious that he's talking about Christmas, and I have a Christmas tree behind me, and so does Yo-Yo. I'm like, wait, is that a Christmas tree? And I'm like, wow, we both have Christmas trees. That is like.
I noticed that earlier.
RW, they're holiday trees. You just got to put different ornaments on for different months. Yeah. So, in other news, has anybody watched Palm Springs on Hulu?
I heard that it broke some records. I did not watch it yet, though.
It is so good.
Yeah.
Andy Samberg is hilarious. The girl who's in it is hilarious. J.K. Simmons is in it. He's fantastic.
Oh, really?
In everything. Yeah, he's in it. You know, and it's just fun. It is. Johnny Jones Jameson here. So it's just like a time loop. So it's like Groundhog Day. So it's just funny, the whole story arc. It's a rom-com like they all are. Yep. But it's really funny how they do things every day differently and all this stuff. And Andy Samberg is just fantastic. So it's on Hulu. It's definitely worth a watch. So it's literally like exactly like 90 minutes long.
Yeah.
So it's like super fast. It's like a super quick movie.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. We've been watching Sopranos lately. Never watched that before.
It's a good show.
Yeah. But
me and Jen started watching John Adams on HBO.
Okay.
I watched The Altos, but I've never seen The Sopranos.
Hey.
Yeah, we like Adam Sandberg from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So
well, did you hear Brooklyn Nine-Nine? They threw out all the scripts.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
So in light of what's going on in the country with police reform and stuff like that,
yep.
The creators and the actors, especially the actors, the ones who were like, we want to rewrite the show to be more, have a voice now for what's going on, because it is a comedy in a police precinct.
Yeah.
So Andy Samberg said with everything that's going on, it's literally just been, they threw out all the scripts and stuff like that. So.
Well, that'll be interesting. I mean, it's always been a good show. I hear Little Harrison in the background.
Yeah, I have to run and take care of him. So, RW, I will read the book. I'll follow up with you. I will definitely get my review on it. I love you guys. I do have to run. I gotta go be a dad.
Take
but
care.
I love you guys. I'll guys will check.
Don't be Rick Moranis.
I will.
Let me move this so we can all be in frame there. So I had a couple other things in there. I know James did not watch any of this, so that's okay on that. Warrior Nun, you guys didn't watch. Have you watched Warrior Nun yet?
No, I have not gotten a chance to watch that. I still don't know how give me your thoughts on it, because I just it looks somewhat interesting, but I also feel like it's going to be disappointing.
Okay, so it was a good watch. It's a good story. It is not as action packed as the trailer makes it out to be.
See,
except at the very end, and right when you think all hell's gonna break loose,
it stops.
That's when it ends the first season.
Yep, because that'd be how that stuff normally goes.
So I mean, season 2 is gonna be awesome. Yeah, Jim.
Or you think?
I hope it's gonna be. The story is good. It's a different take on heaven and hell, and you have this sect of warrior nuns, and so if you like biblical stories, it could have some interest for you. Another one similar. This is so Warrior Nuns, a series, 10 episodes, but there's a movie, The Old Guard, which is actually really good. It's more
that
like
actually is on my I'm probably going to watch this weekend list.
Yeah, definitely give it a shot. It's definitely a Highlander feel, where you have this group of immortals, and essentially they're trying to make right in the world. But you have people that are like fighting against them, and yeah, it's a pretty good story.
Are they fighting against them? The trailer made it seem like they were just trying to capture them because they thought, hey, we can make money off of this.
Well, I didn't want to spoil anything, but yeah, they're trying to be captured.
How would you be spoiling something if that's what the trailer?
I don't know. I sorry.
It's not like you said. I saw on Reddit. Yeah. The moment you say that,
there is a lot of fighting in it, and it definitely opens it up to an expanded series. I don't know if it was based on a comic or not, but it's definitely a really good watch. I'd highly recommend it. Also, at the end of this month, we have actually this Friday, Cursed, a new take on the Arthurian legend on Netflix. So that looks good. And at the end of the month, we have Transformers War for Cybertron and Umbrella Academy Season 2.
Yes. Carmichael's going to be in it. That's going to be interesting.
I still need to read the second book on Umbrella Academy. Maybe I'll read it after the show so I'm not spoiled.
Why?
So I'm not spoiled.
Just read it. I can already tell you it's probably going to take from some of it, but not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just read it. Yeah. At least then you'll get some of the references and things like that.
Okay, I'll read it. Also, another big thing is Peacock went live today.
Yeah, actually, before the show, I had to do an update because apparently there was an update to it. I haven't actually opened the app. I did download it. So when I had time, I could actually,
Now, what are you running the app on?
Right now, my iPhone.
Okay. Obviously, there's no Fire TV or Roku support. Hence why I was asking you about an Apple TV. So I think with HBO,
let me see if I can cast it.
You might be able to.
Well, we'll know in a moment because I'm hoping it
up.
What streaming services do you do, RW?
We have Disney Plus, Amazon Prime. We have Hulu and Netflix.
Yeah.
And I think that, and then all those other ones where it's like like IMDb TV and Tubi TV and all these other ones, and you're like, oh my god, this one's free, and then you go, what is this movie? What is this movie? What is this movie? Okay, I'm getting out of here because there's nothing I've ever heard of. But free is not always good. But the big ones,
So if you are on a device that supports casting, you can.
Wow. So is Peacock NBC's answer to CBS Access, basically?
Yeah, except it's free.
Wow.
They
can't get it anywhere.
Yeah. They do have paid options, and they have Peacock original series that I don't think will be on NBC. And it looks like they have live on there as well.
It does.
It does? Okay.
Yep,
I tried accessing it, but it was going a little slow, probably because it launched today. I think what I'm going to do is get a device for downstairs that can play Peacock. And right now I have Hulu Live, but I'm probably going to cancel that.
How old is your Roku?
What's that?
How old is your Roku?
No, I don't. I have Fire TVs.
I thought you said you had a Roku.
No, sorry, Fire TV. Actually, Peacock doesn't work on Roku either.
Yeah, but you can
work on Fire Stick either, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we have.
Yeah.
If you have a Roku, though, you can cast to it because Roku support cast functionality.
Yeah.
So
apparently,
around it.
The Google Chromecast is supposed to work on that.
I have, weirdly enough, I have one in the TV here.
Yeah.
Mainly because I just needed somewhere to put it.
Yep.
And also because it's the one I got with Stadia because I still have Stadia.
Oh, yeah.
One of like two people that probably still use it. But it works great that which one Chromecast Ultra they gave me, and there's certain things that you can't cast to this TV for some odd reason. Like case in point, Peacock. It sees the Chromecast Ultra. It sees the Nexus player in the bedroom. It saw my bedroom Google Home. It's like the screen one I have in my bedroom. You can see that. So I can cast to that little thing, but I can't just cast directly to the TV.
Your cat's like, hey, you're not patting me. What's up with that?
She doesn't understand that concept. It's just
it's like, cat's like, hey.
Jim says Shudder is kind of okay for horror movies, gives you something to do during the pandemic. A lot of guys on the network have Shudder. I don't have it. I have so this is what I'm planning to do. I have Hulu Live and I'm paying way too much for that. So I think I'm gonna get a device that can play Peacock and then cancel Hulu Live. So I'll just keep regular Hulu. Because the only channel we really watch is just NBC anyway.
There's a way to get like Shudder and Crunchyroll. I think it's like Verve or something like that. I would look into that one because I feel like I've been falling behind on anime, and I keep hearing all these awesome things that are on Shudder, and I kind of just I have to check it out.
We had Shudder for I think it was a month free trial or whatever. And we're just waiting for something else to come on that we want to watch again because I have 7 other emails.
That's the way to do it, keep on doing trials, yeah.
As long as they keep giving you emails for free, I don't see why not.
Oh my God. Well, back in the AOL days, I had like 5 of them, and then I think I have a Hotmail one and a Yahoo and a Gmail, so might get a year free, but we're just waiting for stuff to go on that we want to see, and then whatever.
Yeah. I should take another look at Shudder, but the thing is that I have DC Universe, which I never log into. HBO Max, I've been really enjoying. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime.
I do not have Amazon Prime. I refuse to pay for Amazon Prime. Despite the fact that, I know that by having Netflix, I still give Amazon money. But,
God,
I wish there was a way to avoid giving him money.
If you pay Amazon Prime, you can watch Space People 1 and 2.
What do you like on Amazon Prime, RW?
What's funny is every night at about 7:30, we try to watch something, for an hour or whatever before Tracy has to settle down because she gets up at the crack of dawn.
Yeah.
And this is what we do. We go. Right? And I do this for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I throw it to her and I go, you find something. And she goes, quick, quick, quick. And I go, what are we watching this for? Because you couldn't pick something.
Well, me and my wife.
Because I have ADD,
Well, also there's too much,
Yeah.
there's too much to watch. So me and my wife go through the same thing, and what we've been trying to do is just trying to find series.
Yeah.
We ended up watching Jeffrey Dean Morgan had a series, something City, Sin City, or it's like took place in the 60s, and he's running a casino, and it was only 2 seasons, and then they ended it early. And this was like in 2013, so it ends on a cliffhanger, but it was a good watch. And like I said, now we're watching Sopranos. And but if you have Amazon, did you watch Miss Maisel?
No, but her mom absolutely loves that.
Oh, such a good show. Definitely give that a shot.
We watched the new Unsolved Mysteries, and I wasn't impressed because the old Unsolved Mysteries had like 3 or 4 different stories, and you had Robert Stack going, "Tonight we'll be going to Spokane, Washington, where a man disappears. These stories and more. Maybe you can help solve the mystery." And there'd be like a UFO one, and some guy was in Vietnam or whatever, and some nurse helped him out, and he wanted to figure out where she was, and they bring them back together, and they have their tender moment because if it wasn't for her, he wouldn't be here. And now it's one story for the whole hour, and they do stuff where like they show a remote control laying on someone's counter, and the camera goes like this.
Yeah.
And it just shows this remote control on the desk for like 17 seconds, and then it'll go outside and it shows a train going down the tracks, and then a car going across the tracks, and a guy walking, and a person with a shopping cart. And I'm like, none of this has anything to do with the story. You like milking this thing for all its worth. What's that?
It's B-roll.
But I just, you said something that reminded me of something in here, and this is, you just said too many choices. So here's page 137 of my book, and it says the 60s through the 80s. Where do I even begin? This is the chapter 10, 60s, 70s, and 80s potpourri, however you say the stupid word. But anyways, 60s through the 80s, where do I even begin? Games, television, music, movies, toys, comics, magazines. So many things I want you all to remember about this time period. Things that I enjoyed, some that are long forgotten. Let's start with television and Saturday morning cartoons and shows. Kids today will never know what it was like getting up on the weekend at the crack of dawn to watch all your favorite shows. Kids today will also never know 3 main networks, ABC, CBS, and NBC.
Yeah.
And that's what it was back then. It was like, what do you want to watch? Do you want to watch the Beachcombers out of Canada on CBC? Or do we want to watch the rerun of, let me ask you one more question, ma'am. You say the perpetrator drove off in a bright red sedan. So you're like, you have 2 choices, the Beachcombers or Columbo. Now it's like, oh my God, like it just, where do you even start? And if you have Netflix, Hulu, Prime, and all these other things, you go Prime first, tick, 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 tick. Oh, let's see what's on Netflix, tick, 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 tick. Okay, let's check out Hulu, tick, tick, tick. I'm tired, I'm going to sleep. Okay, good night, see you in the morning. Like seriously, it's so hard,
that brought up a good thing. Somebody's been working on a list, and I got to see if I can replicate it. But they've been trying to, one person did it. Their list was huge. They rebuilt the Saturday morning cartoon listings in Plex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm not there yet. So, and my disk space is running a little low, so might need to wait for another drive. But that seems like a very interesting project.
I just think that, again, I'll be 55 in November, and I think that the kids of today, even people maybe in their early 20s, really missed out. Like, again, when I was growing up, you couldn't wait for Saturday morning. You get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, your parents are still sleeping, and they're like, you be quiet, we're sleeping, don't be loud. So you literally put the volume on the TV, so it was like this, and you would literally sit in front of the TV so that you could hear it, but you wouldn't wake up your parents or whatever. You'd make yourself cereal or grab a Pop-Tart or some orange juice or whatever until they got up and made, bacon and eggs or whatever it was, and you just sat there. And then noon came, and then it was like, CBS Sunday morning or whatever Saturday morning shows came on, curling or, wrestling or
Mutual of Omaha's. Yeah.
And then you go outside and play or whatever. But now, like, everything is there 24/7. There's not, and I'm not saying there's nothing to look forward to, but there's nothing to look forward to because you looked forward to Saturdays so you'd have that 6 hours where you could watch The Challenge of the Super Friends. Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice, you know, like you would just get up so you could watch all this stuff. The Croft, you know, Sigmund and the Sea Monsters and H.R. Puffin stuff and the Harlem Globetrotters, and you know, it's all in my book. That's why I did that chapter. And a lot of people are like, dude, you're just trying to fill space. No, I'm trying to tell people that life was cool at one point. That's all I did was say, remember this. Does anybody remember this? Like, this is my, you know, this is where I came from, is getting up on Saturday and watching stuff. And now it's all gone. And like you say, what do you watch? I mean, we watched some stuff. We watched Nosferatu. We watched Defending Jacob. You know, we watched the Channel Zero or whatever. So we've watched a bunch of different stuff, but it's just, it's so hard sometimes because it's like, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I wish I could go back just one day. Like, please, give me a time machine. Let me go to the 70s one day and just live that life on that TV in that living room one time, you know?
Hopefully we won't get kicked for this. Let me see. Let me get this to play.
Okay, if you think it's gonna get you kicked, why would you do it?
How can I get kicked, man? All this good material I've just given the internet, and you're gonna lose
there. If I poke him, he might attack me.
Hear this?
Poke him.
In the great hall of the Justice League are assembled the world's 4 greatest heroes, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman,
the Boy Wonder,
Aquaman, and those 3 junior super friends, Wendy, Marvin, and Wonder Dog.
Wonder Dog.
Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
We could do this all day, but like my show, and you don't need to pull it up, was Fonda the Barbarian.
Oh, yeah.
You know, out of Earth, with the runaway planet, you know, between the moon and the Earth or whatever. And oh my God. But like I say, like, I don't know why. And I know it's because I grew up then, but it just seemed like things were cooler back then. The Evel Knievel Stun Bike, which is now back actually, and all these other toys and magazines and stuff. And no offense, I'm guilty of it too, but every kid in America does this now. 24/7.
Yeah.
With their headsets on, going, he's over there, Johnny. No, look to your left. Oh my God. Like, and I'm like, you know, I play him too, but I just, again, I wish every kid in America could experience the childhood that I had, aside from the bullying and the not so fun home life. But like, just everything was so cool. Like I say, on Friday nights, and I believe it was October, might have been September, they did this whole hour program. CBS, ABC, and NBC did one. It was like the shows that are coming this fall, like the new lineup. And they would be like, you know, show you clips of, like, if Happy Days was coming out, they'd show you clips of Happy Days so you know what the show was about. They'd show you a clip of Mork and Mindy, show you clips of WKRP in Cincinnati, whatever, so you could know what the new lineup was. And then TV Guide would do a TV guide that was like as thick as my book with all that stuff in there. And you'd be like, oh my God, this looks like a cool show. Knight Rider, a guy has a talking car. Are you kidding me? You know, like, it was so cool. And now it's so different. Again, that's another reason I wrote the book.
Yeah, I mean, TV Guide, you know, that is, just everything's changed. It's just insane. Speaking of gaming, Yo-Yo, do you have PS4? No, okay.
Xbox One?
I have an Xbox One that I have not touched in God knows how long.
Oh, Sad face.
I was gonna ask if you're gonna pick up Ghost of Tsushima on Friday, but that I guess no.
Well, I mean, I could for no reason, or open it backwards compatible when PS5 comes out, because I'm gonna grab that. But
yeah,
like I just got super tired of having to constantly update the goddamn thing.
Yeah,
like every time I went to play something, it's you got to wait 4 hours for an update. So I just kind of impatient me, and that's why I kind of like Stadia, because I don't have to wait for an update.
I disagree.
But the game selection sucks. It sucks so bad.
What does?
The game selection for Stadia.
Oh yeah.
Like it's got they gotten a couple of new games, but yeah.
I think you said you're going for the PS5, right?
Yep.
Yeah. PlayStation exclusives are definitely where it's at.
I mean, I'll probably end up grabbing both, because why the fuck not? But
oh my god!
You said your Xbox RW?
Well, I have both, but I play the Xbox One more than anything else, and I started out, like I say, old school, long time ago. I still have my Atari 2600 with all my games, and then I got a used ColecoVision from somebody, and that I probably have 12 games for that, and I still have those. I ended up getting the rollerball for the ColecoVision and the steering wheel. And then from there, I don't remember where I went, but I think I went regular Nintendo, which I still have that with all my games. And then I switched to Super Nintendo, which I still have in all my games. And I picked up an Atari Jaguar once, like a long time ago, and I think I have 3 games for that. The regular Sega. And then I have the Sega Genesis, and then I have the 32X-bit adapter for that, and the Sega CD adapter to that. I have the Dreamcast, I have the Game Boy, I have the Game Gear, I have the Virtual Boy, I have the GameCube, the Nintendo 64. But yeah, I have the PS2. So I went PlayStation 2, and then when I was about to buy the PS3, the Xbox 360 was coming out. And they had the R2D2 special release unit. So I went, I'll go there. So I never had a PS3. I went to Xbox 360. And then from there, I hated Microsoft. So I went back to PS4. And like 3 days after I bought the PS4, a buddy of mine bought the Xbox One. And he's like, dude, you should buy an Xbox One so you can play Far Cry with me. And I go, dude, I just bought the PS4. And he's like, that's junk. Buy the Xbox One. So I went out and bought the Xbox One, played Far Cry with him one time.
Yeah.
Then he never played again. And so I was stuck with both, but I used the Xbox One probably the most.
Yeah.
Well, weirdly enough for me, I have the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, but then I got the Xbox One, and then like I kept saying I was going to grab a PS4, and then I just kept finding reasons not to. Whether it was because, I'm an adult with bills that I have to get paid, and I live by myself. So if I don't pay them, no one else will.
Right. And I was gonna sell the PS4 since I don't use it, but it's like we'll give you $10 for it, and then you sell it for $10, and then if you decide you want it back, you got to go pay another $280 to get it back again. So I'm one of these people that hardly ever sells anything because of that reason. Yeah. I sell it to you for $5, and then I'm like, man, I made a mistake, because it cost me $280 to get it back. So I keep it, whatever, I count my losses that way. But
you should definitely check out some of the exclusives if you haven't played PS4 for a while. I mean, Spider-Man is simply amazing. There was definitely a sleeper hit last year with Days Gone. And you can get it wicked cheap right now. It's like a zombie survival game that will literally scare the shit out of you. Like it's really where you have to like scrounge for like parts to like build things and like maintain your motorcycle and like be quiet around certain zombies. Like you could actually like attract a horde, and you have to like it'll scare the shit out of you. But
I had the original Last of Us and then the Uncharted series or whatever. I still have the PS4, like I say, and the game. Recently, it was Kai, which is Tracy's youngest birthday, turned 13, and he wanted the game Godzilla, which was only out for like 2 days. I mean, it was out for a very short time, and then they lost the rights to it. So now they don't sell it. So the only way to find it was like eBay for like $200, $300, $400.
Wow.
So I went to all these GameStops, called all these GameStops, found one an hour and a half from here, almost to Manchester, New Hampshire or whatever. And they're like, yeah, we have one. I'm like, hold it, and drove an hour and a half and got in the game. And he played it for like, I don't know, an hour. And I think that's all he's got into it. I'm like, and that was $65 at GameStop.
Oh, wow.
And I said, if you ever don't want this game, I'll give you $65 for it. Not so I can sell it on eBay for $300, but because if it's that rare, and people ask, like, I have an incredible autograph collection, as I'm sure you've seen me post, like tons and tons of autographs or whatever. And people go, what's your most valuable one? And I go, they're all valuable. And they're like, no, but which one? And I go, value to me is different. Like if somebody said, I'll give you $1 million for this, I would probably sell it. But other than that, I have something that a lot of people don't have, and that value to me is worth more than the money that I can get for it. Thus, the game Godzilla would be worth more to me, knowing that there's not that many of them out there. So why wouldn't you want to be one of the people that says, I have the Godzilla game, you know?
Jim, actually, this is different from Dead Rising. It's actually Days Gone is a open world game. So I know like Left 4 Dead is sort of like on a rails. This here is like complete open world. So it's just a placey in the middle of the apocalypse, and it's up to you to figure out. What's that?
Left 4 Dead?
Is it on rails? I thought it was on rail. I
he said Dead Rising. He's talking about Dead Rising.
He's talking about Dead Rising.
Yeah, it's like you brought up Left 4 Dead, which is something totally different.
Yeah,
right. I think what you said not Left 4 Dead, which isn't what you said originally. So you got look at that squirrel. Wow.
Basically, super bushy tail, man. Super bushy.
Yeah. I remember the Dead Rising games. It like takes place like in a mall, right?
So some of them do.
Yeah.
There's some games I can't play. Like there was the is it Zombie Island? Is that right? No, Dead Island. And I was playing it with a friend, and I'm like, this game's kind of cool, but there's a lot of like driving this car, and I'm like, like there's some games. It's weird. I used to play Doom when it was a floppy disk and it only had 9 levels. Yeah. I would play this thing for 5 hours. Now I put. Go ahead.
Okay, you like the original, like Doom 2?
No, like Doom, when it was shareware.
Yeah.
I used to play it for like 5 hours at a time, and there was only 9 levels. And now I put Doom in. I play it for about 2 minutes, and I can't play it any more than that. Really? It is weird.
Have you tried the new one?
The original Doom. I forgot which one of the new ones I tried. I think I have Doom upstairs. Yeah, okay. But I'm just saying, games now make me sick, motion sick, and I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
Like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark were my 2 favorite games to play ever, and if they ever make me sick, I will probably have to cry.
Oh no. The latest 2 Doom games, the one that came out 2 years ago, Yo-Yo?
I don't remember. I think it's been more than 2 years since that one came out. Let me just double check, but I'm pretty sure it's been more than 2 years.
Okay. Because they just came out with a sequel to that, and
yes.
Yeah, those are really good. I didn't play the newest one though. I knew we are running about a little late. If you are interested in checking out RW's book, I have an Amazon link in the show notes. So definitely pick yourself up a copy. Support local artists like RW. I love the back picture.
Yeah, so I gotta come clean here too. So I swore I'd never tell anybody this, but yeah. So this you can see. I don't know if you can. I don't know. Maybe you can do something different than me, but
which one?
It's like there's these 5 reviews.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. So these 5 reviews right here, all 5 of those.
Yeah.
There's no limit to my comedy. I wrote all 5 of those.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. And that's the thing. So we lost James, which stinks, because he said, "Did you crack up while writing this book?" I laughed so hard writing these 5 reviews for the back of my book. I seriously, I was laughing so hard because I'm like, how does a book come out and already have a review when it just came out? Like, it's impossible. So I'm like, well, I need some kind of reviews on my cover. So I'm like, so you got Eugene Serling. There's a project I did called Drake Mountain. It's actually on YouTube. You can look it up, Drake Mountain. And we had to pick our own character names. So Eugene Roddenberry created Star Trek, and Rod Serling created Twilight Zone.
Oh.
In my opinion, 2 of the most brilliant men in the writing creative industry. So I became Eugene Serling. Gary Wendell was another show that I did, and that's also on YouTube, the Gary Wendell Show. John Burroughs, when Elvis checked into a hotel, he never used his real name. He always checked in a hotel under the name of John Burroughs. And since I'm a huge, huge Elvis fan, I had to pay homage to him. Gabriel Bell was a character in Deep Space Nine where Avery Brooks goes to some resistance thing, and somehow they think he's this guy named Gabriel Bell. And I may or may not have faked a UFO photo one time. And so I got all this publicity under my real name, and I'm like, dude, you can't. All these people were like, hey, can we run your story? I'm like, yeah, but you can't use my name. You got to use Gabriel Bell. So that's how that came about. And then last but not least, this one here is Jeff Russell. And my 2 favorite actors of all time are Jeff Bridges and Kurt Russell. So that's how that name came about. But all 5 of those little things I wrote up.
Oh,
and I was like, the way I'm laughing right now is the way I was like, oh my God, this one's hilarious. Oh my God, this one's so funny. And then Tracy comes up, I'm like, look at these things. I wrote these. Right? She's like, only you know. All the 6 reviews that are on Amazon are obviously from other people, because there's no way I had time enough to make fake accounts. And believe me, I tried, but to review something on Amazon, you have to have purchased $50 in the last however long. And I'm like, I'm not even taking it this far. I'm not spending $50 so I can put up a review. Not going to happen.
Too fun.
Oh, God.
Well, like I said, if you're interested in picking up RW's book and supporting a local artist, link is in the show notes. Very easy. Just head on down there and click. And you won't be disappointed. We didn't even talk about Fun Spot. Next time you come on, we'll have to talk about Fun Spot.
We will. I went a couple of weeks back on the day they opened for the first time.
Yeah.
What day that was, but it's on my website, and there was a ton of people there. So I'm hoping that they, get their business back up and running, because, Bob Lawton has been doing this for 65 years or whatever. Like, his whole life he's dedicated to this arcade and making people have a place to go. And so if you guys can support him, they take donations for ACAM. I can't ever say it right. Arcade something museum. I forgot what it stands for, but they're always taking donations, and every dollar you give to them keeps the arcade there and keeps it afloat. So yeah.
Oh, nice. We're going to be up there in a couple weeks. I'm not going to go to the arcade though, because definitely, we're going to be with elderly families, so don't want to take any chances bringing them back. So we'll be just staying low key, doing some swimming up there. But yeah, yes, totally. RW, where do you like people following you?
My official website is officialrwmartin.com. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube and Instagram, all by VTActor007. You might see me on posters at the post office, but just ignore that. It was a case of mistaken identity.
Okay, and I believe I have that information in the show notes as well, so definitely check it out.
Including the post office ones.
No, I think I left out the post office.
They told me they were all taken down. I swear to God.
Yo.
Boy Meets Phone on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Yo Saint Laurent on those same social media channels. So that's pretty much it.
Cool beans. And, for me, just Google Leo Pond. You find a bunch of stuff. Could be true, could be not. But more importantly, head on over to thedorkening.com for all the shows on the network. And, even more important than that, follow these awesome people and support local artists. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye-bye.